Hello and welcome to the Craze Mag Latest Records podcast. Once again, we've got
Latent.
Latent, Sly Loris.
And Will Powers.
So we're all here again. Another 2 weeks on. So how are you all doing?
Good, pretty good. Had a busy couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm good. All good.
My work colleague has given me a cough, so
Yep.
we're gonna have to deal with that throughout all
Yep.
this.
that is life for the next 2 hours or so.
Quarantined.
Yeah. No.
Sitting in a corner of the room, far
Yeah.
away from us.
Yeah. No, I'm quarantined. Have to hide away. Get your masks on.
I keep seeing that. I was up in London, not yesterday, but like a couple of days ago, and I don't know why this is, but I keep on seeing Asian, possibly Japanese people wearing masks on their face all the time. Whenever I'm up in the city,
Yeah, I don't know why it is in Japan. I don't know the history of that. I know, like with China and that, obviously, with a lot of the smog in
Yeah, the
Hong
smog
Kong
and that,
things
yeah.
like that.
but London
I'm
though,
sure there's some cultural aspect to it.
yeah, maybe.
Well, there's a lot of stuff about that the air quality's not great in London. So
I suppose I'm still alive. And I was there. I was up in where was I? Someone take over. I can't remember where I was.
no, I mean the air quality's always we're struggling at the moment. Still, again, it's kind of going up and up and up.
Yeah.
Again, because of all the tall skyscrapers keeping all the dirty air down.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
So that's what you
Well,
learn.
mostly in built-up areas, that's where it happens because
Right.
of all the tall buildings and things. The air
Yeah,
doesn't
makes sense.
spread outwards, so
Yeah.
all the fumes and things from all the vehicles or anything burning and stuff kind of tends to stay low amongst the ground air. Rather
Oh, there
than
you go.
rising
You're
up.
learning stuff. This is.
And it's getting warmer as well, so that normally pushes everything down.
Oh yeah. Yeah. The warm air goes up and the shit stays down here.
Exactly. So.
Yeah.
And it has been warmer lately, because I've noticed it.
Yeah, the weather's getting all right.
Yeah, it's like the springtime's here, isn't it?
Yeah.
The clock's gone forward an hour.
Yes.
Yep. We all lost an hour of our
Always
lives.
traumatic to me for the first
Why do we
couple
still
of
do
days.
it? Why do we still do that?
I know.
It's
I know,
pointless.
I
Why
know.
are we still doing that?
I know.
Why is that still a thing that we do?
I don't know.
I don't even know what time it is anymore. I don't care.
Why was it even started? I'm sure there was some politician or something, or some body made it something that should be done. I'm pretty sure it's nothing to do. They always
Yeah.
say it's to do with farmers and things like that, and or
Yeah.
using the grazeland. But you go to them and they go, or you even look at this shit of it. It's like nothing to do with that whatsoever.
Farmers will get up and start doing their thing at the crack of dawn, no matter what time it is. And then they'll stop doing it when it starts getting dark, no matter what time it is. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I agree.
And then I was out. It was my girlfriend's birthday night out, and then it hits 1 a.m. and then suddenly it's not 1 a.m. anymore. It's 2 a.m. and so we lost an hour of the night. So
Yeah, it's a bit of a pisser.
but then you get an extra hour later in the year, don't you? So I
It causes
suppose.
all sorts-
Well, it
it
only
causes-
takes you back to where you was.
Yeah.
Of thing,
Yeah,
so-
it causes
just-
more issues that, like, and when it goes forward, you kind of go, oh, I haven't had much sleep, or
Yeah.
people are late. That's a common issue with it, is that people are late because they forget to do it or check it, or
And sometimes you forget to put your clock forward as well.
Yeah.
So you wake up and you're thinking, oh, hang on a minute.
I always say these days it's getting less of an issue because everything does it automatically now.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
Yeah, still things though, like your microwave or your oven or something with the time on it. If it's not a smart one, but
I used to always check the time on the microwave. Now I don't even do it. I've got too many devices that
Yeah,
go.
it'll tell you,
There's a time.
Yeah.
I used to always look at the microwave if I was in the kitchen. So, oh, what's the time?
Well, the only time I actually look at any kind of form of time is when I know that I'm meant to be meeting somebody or doing something that day with someone.
yeah,
That's the only time that I actually look at time. Otherwise, I'm just oblivious. Sometimes I don't even know what fucking day it is. Honestly, I don't. People go to me, oh, it's Wednesday. I go, is it? What the fuck happened to Monday? Where have I been? Do you know what I mean? But it's only because I know somebody's coming that I think, right, I've got to try and keep track of time.
yeah,
Or they text me to say, that's what I say to everybody. Text me and let me know when you're near.
yeah,
Because otherwise, you ain't got open air of me being there on time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good about having a normal work week, so you do kind of keep track of everything quite.
yeah. I suppose
Yeah.
that's
Get
true.
used to
Yeah,
it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Not like us lazy bastards that do fuck all. Just completely and utterly oblivious to what day it is. Sometimes I can lose months. I've done that before.
Time never helps me though. No, it's never a helpful thing.
It's not your friend, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a thing earlier today saying, why is it that when you spend 3 minutes with someone who you don't want to be with, then it feels like hours. But then if you spend 3 hours with someone you like, then it passes like nothing.
Yeah. That's because you're not checking time as well.
Yeah.
So when you're, it's kind of the amount of times you look at it and things as well.
Yeah.
Kind of really plays into that.
Yeah, I hate those 3-minute people. Those people.
Those 3-minute people.
Yeah, damn them.
I spent some time this week watching something. I think it's called Serial Experiment Lane, which is animated thing from the 90s about what they call the wire, which we call the internet.
Yeah.
And I watched it all the way through, kind of thing, and then had to watch the last 4 again because it's so many levels to it. That afterwards there's this other thing that you can watch, which is a real human being, and it's called Serial Experiment Lane. What the fuck did I just watch? Because you're kind of going, I know there's some kind of things here, but I don't know what they are.
Yeah.
So then you kind of going, you have to ponder it for a little while, going, what does all of this mean? There is something, there's loads of levels there, but it's trying to decipher what level you want to take from it. But it was quite good. I mean, I would say to everybody, if you've not seen it, Serial Experiment Lane, it's an old anime thing. And I've never watched anime before. This is my first one.
Yeah.
Little confusing.
Yeah, I think that's a typical experience for most people.
Yeah, especially old animes, like, whoa.
Little confusing.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was good.
I think Akira was my first big anime that I watched.
I remember mine, I watched Ninja Scroll, then I watched Ghost in the Shell, and then I watched Akira.
Yeah, I watched Akira first. That's a pretty messed up movie in some
Yeah.
parts. It's just...
Oh, I used to see The Legend of the Overfiend is called. Have you ever heard of that one?
No, I haven't.
That Urotsuki Doji, The Legend of the Overfiend. It's fucking messed up. It's got the tentacle stuff that Japanese things are known for.
It's just the Japanese mentality because they're so reserved, like in normal day and kind of very work ethic based. Is that all their kind of creative aspects just go whoa, like really out there?
Yeah,
it just seems like they just kind of explode outwards on their creative aspects,
and they really like they're things that are culturally specific to them. They really run with them sometimes, and they don't care what anyone else thinks.
No.
And that's pretty entertaining.
It's like also the structure of anime is very different to anywhere else that I've seen. Where it's a bit like, right, you've got a little intro bit, then you've got maybe kind of a weird song with all the credits rolling by. Then they might have a little break bit in the middle as well, which is probably where the adverts usually go on them. But obviously, because the way we consume it is just kind of the whole thing. But just the structure of it seems very peculiar sometimes. I find.
Obviously, with this one, I watched the English dubbed one.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, it runs up to about 15, 16 minutes per episode, but then they seem to kind of repeat the beginning bit of the episode, but mix it up a little bit. So I had to cut it off in the end because I was watching this 6-minute stuff that I'd seen at the beginning of it, thinking, why am I watching this again?
I think you find that
once I got the hang of that, I realised, right, hang on, I need to stop it here and move on to the next one.
I mean, quite a lot of some Japanese anime just do really kind of technically advanced animation techniques, and so that means they have to pad it out because that animation can take a really long time to do with some of them, and others you can see real shortcuts and they get a lot out of it, but there's others where you're a bit like the animation is really good and you can tell that they have to repeat bits or kind of really pad out their episodes because they're like any other networks around the world for television. They go, this is the time frame that you've got. So if it's too short, you have to kind of pad it out. Or if it's too long, you have to.
But just in case there's any Serial Experiment Lane fans out there, I just want to say, beep beep, beep beep, So they'll know what.
I haven't seen that. No, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen that one.
No, I've not seen that.
Like,
but
my mate who got me onto it, now he just texts me and he goes beep beep. Contact.
There's
beep,
so
beep,
much animation. Like every person I talk to about it, there's like the odd few that you're all connected to. You're a bit like, oh yeah, I've seen that one. But there's always new stuff coming, and people go, "Have you seen that?" I go, "No," because there's so much
Yeah,
anime
there's so
out
much, yeah.
there. There's loads of it, and it's just
I mean, this is my first one, and it's kind of like, yeah. Whether I'll be watching any more, I don't know. But it was all right.
I don't know. There's some that are kind of more drama based and things like one that I watched recently was Your Name, which kind of had a bit of sci-fi element to it, but it's kind of more about a kind of a girl and boy. One's in Tokyo and one's in a rural area. I can't remember what the town's called. I think it's made up. But they end up swapping bodies. It's kind of like the old body swap story, but in the Japanese way, it's like completely different to kind of Freaky Friday things like that. It's actually really artfully done, and like that's kind of a lot more drama based in terms of relationships and how they compare and things. They kind of do take something that's probably been done before in the Western story, but kind of really put their culture into it, which I like.
Yeah. Well, I've noticed that before when, like, because I grew up being a massive fan of Chinese and particularly Hong Kong films, like the kung fu films and that. And even in that, like, I personally believe that most of the old kung fu movies are the sort of films that you could raise your child on, like you do with Disney films, because they've always got very basic but very sort of very, very good morals to them, and they always have a moral to the story at the end. But the same thing is true with those films, that they have the same kind of stories that we see in our own Western stuff, but they just have the very Chinese kind of take on it. So it's interesting. I really do like all Asian type of cinema and TV and stuff. It's just different.
Yeah, I like some of the Chinese stuff. I liked Crouching Tiger and Hero and things like that. But those were like big ones for the kind of Western
they
audiences.
were big, and they were actual Chinese ones, whereas most kung fu movies were made in Hong Kong, or most of the vast majority of all the old classics.
The Big Boss.
The Bruce Lee movies were made in Hong Kong. The Jackie Chan movies were all made in Hong Kong. I don't know who else. Donnie Yen, who's quite big now, he started out making Hong Kong movies, but now that he's got so big, he's been in Star Wars and everything.
Attack on Titan season 2 starts soon as well.
Oh yeah, that's coming on Netflix as well, isn't it? I think.
Oh, sorry, it's been on Netflix kind of since they did the English dub.
Yeah.
But yeah, Attack on Titan. Looking forward to the second season. It's been about 3 years since the first one.
Oh
so
right.
It's like it's actually a long wait in between.
Yeah, that is a really long wait.
So they're finally doing that, and Ghost in the Shell's out today.
Well, as we're recording this, when this comes out, it will have been out 2 days.
I'm probably gonna have to see that this weekend.
Yeah, I'm seeing it on Sunday.
It looks pretty. I mean, the shots look pretty true to the original anime.
I am so excited for. I'm more excited for this film than I have been for. I wasn't this excited for Star Wars Episode 7. I love Ghost in the Shell, and I think that this film looks like it's doing justice to the whole thing. And I like Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah.
I think she's one of the best leading ladies. Aside from stuff about whether she's fit or not, I think she's one of the best leading actresses in Hollywood at the moment. Every week, I swear, Alistair.
Sorry, I forget. Hello? Oh, piss off.
Keep that in.
What? Yeah, they had Lucy on again the other day, which I watched.
Oh yeah, Lucy. Yeah, that's a weird film.
Yeah,
that's a Luc Besson film. He's always writing and directing films like that. They're always sort of an action adventure film, usually where it's either a woman who's the main character, or else it's about a man who's trying to protect a woman or a girl, like in Leon. But I like Luc Besson's films.
There's a film of hers actually that I'm watching over the weekend. It's where she plays an alien that lures people into a van.
Oh yeah, that
I've not seen it. Don't tell me anything about it.
I'll tell you one thing about it that you'll like. Although I don't want to dwell on this too much, but she's completely naked in it.
Oh, is she? I am definitely watching it. Yeah. I may bring that forward to tonight after this podcast.
Yeah.
I'm only joking.
One day I'll remember to turn off my phone in the middle of the podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
But yeah, it's a good movie.
It is good. It's
weird,
creepy and weird, and experimental, and it's a good film.
Yeah, I'm having a big alien fest at the moment of alien films.
And that was combined with stuff that was kind of improvised, like in some of that movie as well. Like some of it's just she's out in Manchester and was just doing stuff, and like they had hidden cameras and things and doing it. It's good. It's good, that movie.
And one interesting fact about that movie is another one, apart from the naked one, is that there's a guy in it who makes an appearance in one scene, and he's very recognisable to people who live in Croydon because he's a guy who I think he's got the same thing that the Elephant Man had, the same condition.
Okay.
And I used to see him because he used to work in the library just round the corner from my house. I used to see him in there, and I remember he then popped up in a national newspaper because he's got a twin brother who hasn't got the condition, and I can't remember exactly what the story was about that. But then, yeah, he suddenly I remember watching that film and he just appears in it, obviously because of what he looks like. But yeah, it was just interesting to see him there. I can't remember what his name is now, but he's known in Croydon because that's where he's from.
I can't wait to watch it. I'm leading up to the new one out called Life with Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing that. It looks...
Yeah, so I'm kind of building myself up to it by having a big alien fest of all my top alien films, and I'm going to try and take in as many that I've not seen.
Yeah.
It just does seem cookie cutter. It's an alien movie, essentially.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course.
Well, especially if you've got two big leading men like that, then it's not likely to be as amazing as some sci-fi films that have come out recently.
But then we're leading up to, is it Alien Covenant?
Covenant.
Yeah, that one.
That looks very intriguing.
So, yes. So I shall be watching the Scarlett Johansson one over the weekend.
Yeah, that is a really weird movie. Some of the I think the opening of that movie is really amazing as well.
Yeah,
like how they start it, like some of the shots in it it's just really amazingly well shot.
Yeah,
I thought.
I'd say all the way through, it's the cinematography of it is quite exceptional.
The soundtrack as well, it's quite creepy.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember. There was a horror film that I watched on Now TV recently that was like that. It was really weird, but bear with me. I'm just trying to find what it was called. Don't do that. It's putting pressure on me. I'll find it.
I saw Beauty and the Beast the other day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Was it good?
Did you watch Frozen straight away afterwards?
Went with my sister.
Oh, okay. I think it looks interesting. It looks decent.
They added some. My sister knows all about the books and things, like the original story, and she's like,
right.
It adds a lot more of the original story in it in terms of the history of it. And actually, the new bits that they added in, I thought were the best parts of the movie. So, and I like that animation as an original one. Actually, I appreciate the animation thing. But the only thing I thought is that they ruined. They didn't ruin it. They kind of dropped the pacing in Be Our Guest, which made no sense to me.
Oh.
And Emma Thompson's
Emma Watson.
No, Emma Thompson.
Oh, I didn't.
Who does Mrs. Potts in this one?
Oh, okay.
And her London and Cockney accent just doesn't work. She puts on an accent, and she does it really strongly within the main song, the Beauty and the Beast song, the main one in the ballroom bit, and it just made me go, It doesn't work. It just doesn't work with the song at all.
Well, she's a very good actress. I was surprised about that.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. And they also voiced Chip, the little cup.
Yeah.
Whoever did the casting in that movie, you cast that actor too old to do the voice for him. And I know you cast an actor that was too old because I was like thinking he sounds a lot older than he's supposed to be in this, and doesn't kind of match the animation kind of how it looks. And then right at the end, when they all turn human, he goes to hug someone, the kid in it, and I go, that is not the same kid as the voice actor. I can tell that's a proper little kid. He goes up and hug him, and guess what? He speaks, but his mouth's covered by whoever's hugging him. And I was a bit like, you should have just cast someone who was the right age for that one, because
Yeah.
I can tell that it just doesn't fit.
Yeah.
You wonder about these decisions sometimes. You just go, but then again, how late in the production did they kind of maybe notice that? Because I'm sure someone must pick up on it, and because I picked up on it straight away. I was like, they voiced that actor's voice is too old for this character.
You know what you were saying there makes me think about the big game that got released over the last couple of weeks was Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
And most people who are interested in it and in games have seen all the memes about like the my face is asleep and all of that stuff.
There's
But-
a lot of derpy faces.
Yeah, lots of
Like,
derpy
derp.
faces but that was a thing because I was reading about how now BioWare they're working on a big new patch and
fix
they're
it,
going to
yeah.
try and fix all of those things. But for such a high profile game that has been so long awaited among Mass Effect fans and had such a huge build up with lots of reveals over the months and stuff, for it to have such a disappointing final product, I think is very
Well,
strange.
EA kept on saying that it was like it might take another 5 months before they announced the date of it. Like they were saying, oh, it needs a few more months of things, and then it came out a lot earlier than people were expecting.
Yeah.
And I made me look at that and go, I think you maybe should have worked on the extra 5 months that needed that extra polish.
Yeah.
It just wasn't. I don't think the game was ready when it came out. Looking
Yeah,
at it.
you could be right, yeah.
And also, yeah, the game wasn't ready, and I don't get how they don't learn a lesson in the gaming industry. If you do not get that big launch week,
Yeah.
you've lost, like, most of the sales are done in the first week
Yeah,
in gaming.
You only have to
these
look
days.
at Final Fantasy 15 for that. The amount of it's the biggest selling Final Fantasy ever, and most of like 90% of its sales came in the first week.
Yeah, it's constantly with games. It's only indie games where they kind of see a bit more of a
Yeah,
flow
yeah.
on
Depending
their
if
sales
someone
and things.
catches on or if a
But
YouTuber
a big
plays it.
AAA one, first week, if you get it wrong, you have lost a lot of sales.
Yeah, I suppose maybe the one thing they might have going for them is the fact that Mass Effect is such a popular series.
Which it's weird because how that happens, because in games, with gaming, you can fix stuff afterwards a lot
Yeah,
better than you can with
with-
the final product of a movie and
Yeah,
things like that.
yeah, that is true.
Like
yeah,
you can patch it and fix it a lot quicker, I
Yeah.
think, by the way they get it out to everyone. So you've already got the product, but we fixed it a bit more, or
Mm.
because sometimes I wait on games, like if I hear that it's not great at the moment, I won't buy it till later. Then I'll
Yeah.
buy it later, and they're like, oh yeah, they fixed all those issues.
hmm
Lesson there: don't always buy in the first week.
Yeah,
A, it's more expensive.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
And B, you might get a better experience if you wait.
yeah, yeah. Wait and see what people say about the game, and maybe also wait for it to go down in price a little bit.
Mm. But you do get some funny memes though.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the good side of bad things. Funny memes are always a good thing.
Just like crab walking. It's funny what's come out of that.
Yeah,
I don't know who did their animations and who decided on the female, because the female rider face is really bad mostly.
yeah,
And I don't know who decided, because you can make, even if it's got a bad character creation tool,
yeah,
you can still make it better than what their default one is.
yeah,
You'd expect the default one is probably the best one that they could get out of it.
yeah.
Because I kept the original Shepard in the original Mass Effect.
Yeah, I
didn't
used to do
anything
that
to it.
because
I was like, just want
yeah,
the
the first
original.
time I played it, I tried editing him and he just looked wrong the whole time. So I was like, I'm restarting.
But now
this.
in this one, you can make your because the character looks so bad, the default one.
yeah,
People will come out with better ones and go, use this default. It's so
Yeah.
much better.
yeah, they're just uploading what their settings
Yeah.
for how they did it. Yeah. Have you seen any of that new indie game that's I think it's only in its alpha phase at the moment or maybe beta, but it's called Everything.
Yeah, I've watched Game Grumps do it. Game Grumps.
I love it because I wonder if he's going to fix the animations for the animals or if they're just going to continue
I think
rolling
they're going to be
along.
like that all the time.
Because the first time I saw
It's
it,
hilarious.
yeah, it's so funny.
They basically roll, like, it's basically a game where you can warp up and down into everything and anything. So you can warp into, it's like you can ascend and descend. So you can go all the way down to the molecular level, or you can go all the way out to multi-universe level.
Yeah,
You can go into different things, and apparently they've just added models for as much things as they can put in there.
yeah,
But you can start off with an animal, really. I think you start off with a deer most of the time.
yeah. I saw
And-
someone starting off as a penguin.
Yeah, but any kind of big mammals like that, the way they walk is that they kind of flip forward on their and kind of then onto their head, like in a
Yeah.
square formation. It's like
Yeah. Yeah, not even smoothly. It's It was really funny though. I was enjoying it, but you know, it's only being made by one guy.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
probably why.
Yeah, he can't really do too much on
But
the
he probably
graphics.
did it and went, that's funny, I'm leaving it like that.
Yeah. It's funny and it's kind of cute as well. It's quite a cute feature for the animals.
So they must be kind of mapped to their walking boxes.
Yeah.
That's why it's very kind of ridges.
It's just funny because it's like you see a deer walking like that, but then they go along and you see it like an elephant doing that as well, just rolling along. I really like indie games. I think that was a good thing that Nintendo Switch have managed to get indie games coming.
Sony have done well with it though. Microsoft not as much, I find.
Not as much. PC obviously
PC
has
all
it
the
for
time.
the best, but
Except then you get Greenlight games
Yeah,
on
and you get
Steam, and
terrible
some of them
games
are
coming.
terrible, and
Yeah.
some of them are just money grabs.
but Steam
They
is
full
completely
sabotage all the time.
they're changing it now. Greenlight is going to be done away with, isn't it? They've got a new system
Yeah.
coming in.
That's a good thing about Steam. They do review things. They do listen to what the
Yeah.
Steam users say, because there's a lot of stuff about reviews being incorrect and things. And
Yeah, they're
they
changing the
kind of
rating
keep
system as
changing it.
well. Yeah,
So-
you can't really fault Valve on a lot of things. They get things.
Except for Half-Life 3. Where is Half-Life 3?
I don't think it's going to happen.
I think
They-
they've
they
already
have been
said that they're
working
not.
on it,
They don't have any teams working. Or they did, and
Yeah.
then now they don't. They were working on some VR stuff for it apparently, and
Mm.
now apparently they had like 26 departments working on it, like teams working on different things, and now they've just went, nah. Why would you? You're making billions off of being the biggest kind of distribution platform for the
Yeah.
PC. Really,
Yeah,
they make billions each year.
yeah.
Steam. They don't
course
need
they
to do games anymore. They make losses on most of it on stuff like. They're more likely to make a loss. So I'm sure there's some sort of calculation in the business side of it there.
But then
Yeah.
again, as gaming companies, game developing companies go and game studios go, if they've got this monstrous thing on the outside that is making them billions a year, then it doesn't really matter if they lose money on games.
No.
They could make more
I think
experimental
they're focusing
things.
on VR more now
Yeah,
because they've
Yeah.
kind of brought it onto the whole of their Steam platform, VR and things. So
mm.
I think that's the future of, as I say, the future of gaming is VR.
Yeah. I don't think it will ever fully replace.
I think it will.
Well, we'll have to
I
see
think
about
it will. If once the cost comes down and the resolution of the screens become a point where you can't see the pixels,
that. Yeah.
which isn't far off already, that you can do like virtual desktops and things. Like you wouldn't need like a big monitor and stuff like that. You just do it in the screen.
Yeah.
So it'd be space saving. The only thing is the cost at the moment. I think is what's stopping it from going really mainstream.
Yeah.
And the wire, they need to get rid of that.
Yeah. I've heard people saying that the wire can be annoying.
Every time you let people try it out, you're like, be aware there's a big long wire. If you twist around, you could get caught up in it and fall over.
Yeah. Or if you take a step backwards or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you could walk too far and then yank the really expensive computer that's running it.
Yeah.
Considering that to run it really well, you're looking at a good, at least £1,000
Yeah. Powerful computer needed. Yeah.
to run it better than PlayStation VR because PlayStation VR is really blurry and they haven't updated the Move controllers.
Oh, yeah.
Which
Well, I'm
came
sure
out on the
they'll work on
PlayStation 3, and they're using
Yeah.
it for next generation VR.
Again, it's
Update that stuff,
probably
please.
because they wanted to rush out their VR thing. They like to stay ahead of the game, but
It sold the most.
yeah, exactly, yeah,
It sold more than both Vive and Oculus combined.
yeah.
Well,
Just because it's more affordable, really.
Well, and they've got the install base already. People have got the...
yeah,
Now that you've split the cost over, you've got the PlayStation 4. You've had that for a few years now. Now just get this other console price thing. Then you've got VR.
yeah, and then you've got a new world of gaming opened up. Anyway, I found that film. I found it.
You
The
did.
film from Now TV that is really weird, and it's a horror film. It's called Darling, and you reminded me of it by talking about Under the Skin, and it's so weird. It's like it's black and white, and it's a story of a young woman who goes to house sit for someone in this big. It's not quite a mansion, but it's a very large house. But then once she's in there on her own, weird stuff starts happening, and it becomes, it's suggested at least by what's happening that there's some kind of demonic presence in the house, but then the way she starts reacting to it and the way she starts behaving suggests that maybe it's not the house and maybe she's just a fucking lunatic. But either way, that's the whole question the whole time. Is she crazy, or is the house doing stuff to her, or is it both maybe? But it's surprising, and it's got a really unsettling atmosphere to it. It's a bit of a slow burner at first, but then the payoff at the end is pretty...
Check it out.
Yeah, it's decent. You should be able to watch it on Sky Movies, Tim. It should be on there.
Yeah.
Talking about horror, they've just released the It remake
Trailer, yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it looks like it's going more traditional horror. It needs to update it because the original was, I mean, Tim Curry was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought I'd turn that off. Let's do that properly. It wasn't turning on when I did it earlier. Right, let's continue. Yes, It. Yeah, I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, the trailer looks really exciting.
Yeah.
We'd already seen what he's gonna look like. What's the clown's name again? It's like Pennywinkle or something like that.
Pennywise.
Pennywise, yeah, Pennywise, yeah.
Yeah.
Not Winkle.
No.
I had other things on my mind.
Don't even go there. You don't know what's in my head at the moment.
I'm thinking of the midget from the little fella from Circus of Horrors.
Yeah. Perhaps we should go into that because that's funny.
Yeah. So
where did you go, Will? Where was it you went?
Where?
I went to see the Circus of Horrors when they were in Cheam, maybe, that theatre there, and I went for the horror part. That's why I was there. But I saw things like a guy swallowing swords and lots of acrobats, and there was lots of heavy metal music and flames and people getting sawn in half with chainsaws. But the most terrifying thing that I saw was their version of a clown, which was a little fellow. I don't know what the politically correct term is for them.
Little people.
Yeah, the little people.
Vertically challenged.
Okay.
Yeah, a vertically challenged fella who his whole act really consisted of messing about a bit and doing funny things, but then unexpectedly flashing his penis. And he did that on numerous occasions at the beginning, but then moved on to doing things like sticking his penis into the hose of a Henry Hoover, then turning it on and walking around pulling it along with his junk.
With a little smiley face.
Oh yeah,
on the Hoover.
Yeah, the little
still smiling.
Yeah, that was there. He was having a great time, both of them. But like, it was not. The first time he did it, the first time he flashed his bits was when he'd first come out there. He's wearing this long brown trench coat right down to his ankles, but we didn't realise that he wasn't wearing anything underneath it, and he started pointing at someone in the audience, like there was someone at the back of the room that we all needed to look at, and we all turned around. Then when we turned our heads back again, he had his coat lifted up and he had his willy out, and that was... it went from there, really. That was the main part of his act.
An experience?
Yeah. I mean, in fairness to the little guy, he did three things that were quite impressive. The first one was that he ate a light bulb. The second one was that he used his eye socket to open a bottle of beer. And the third one was that he at one point, he had some kind of thing to tie a chain around his genitals and then hang a weight from it, quite a heavy looking weight, and then he stood up on 2 blocks and lifted it off the ground. Yeah.
And you said that they were swinging him up to throw him into the audience at one point.
Yeah, at one point, because he'd been on the stage for a little while, flashing his junk and eating light bulbs and stuff, and then these 2 other people came up, and they sort of picked him up by the arms, one either side of him, to carry him away. But then they did a thing where they were sort of swinging him as if they were going to throw him into the audience, and every time he swung up, we just got an eyeful of everything, and I mean more than just his genitals on that one. I saw a vertically
Anus?
challenged man's anus, and I can never unsee that.
Just think yourself lucky there was no sweat spray or anything like that.
No, there wasn't. Although there was stuff spraying out into the audience when they were chainsawing people in half.
Oh yeah,
Well,
That's
yeah, that's
acceptable.
just
That's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah. But yeah, overall the show was good. But I didn't need to see all that stuff. I would have been happy if he had just eaten the light bulb and opened the beer with his eye
It's like,
socket.
right, go that far,
Yeah.
and now just bring it back
Yeah,
a bit.
and that's it, yeah.
Just
So
a
you can-
little bit.
You can clown around a little bit, that's fine, but we don't
But I've
need
got
to.
to ask, because I mean, everybody, if anyone listens to this, they're going to be kind of thinking the same thing. Was it in proportion, considering he was a vertically challenged chap?
I would say that
Was he hung like a bear, or was it like an acorn?
I would say that he probably had the genitals of an average man, and so it was not proportionate to his size. It looked. I don't know why I'm going into detail on this.
I had listeners. This is for you. I had to ask.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
'Cause we want to kind of get the full story.
Yeah.
Obviously, now it's stuck in your head. You know,
So if you were thinking of seeing Circus of Horrors,
be prepared.
yeah, just be prepared that that's going to happen. Because like
You're going to see a
Yeah.
little man's cock.
you are.
Cock
if
and
you
balls.
go there and you see the normal the 6 foot tall vampire guy who's kind of hosting it, he gets put into a washing machine, and then they turn it on, and then when he comes out, he's shrunk down to this 4 foot nothing vertically challenged man. And when that happens, be prepared because penis will be displayed.
Come see our circus, cock and balls
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
included.
Yeah. So, I'm pretty sure that everyone who was in that room, that's the main thing they took away from that show. Which is unfortunate because they put a lot of effort into the music and the costumes and the other acts that were on there. But that's the only thing that I remember.
And I
So
must point
vividly.
out, the reason why I said you don't want to know what's in my head was, and as I pointed out earlier on, sometimes I do have too much time on my hands.
Right.
That I was sitting there thinking about art. You know, I like doing art
Yeah.
and painting. And I was thinking what has been done before, but what I could do differently and become a better artist.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about mentioning people, but let's just say Andy Warhol, right?
Right.
Took a Brillo box and made a lot of money duplicating Brillo boxes.
Yeah.
So I was thinking of penis art. Now, no, go with it, right? Because
Oh, no,
I know
wait,
that
wait.
women paint their boobs and stick them on paper and everything
Yeah.
and sell that. But I was thinking about if I was to do just for the fun of it, a big picture with my junk, right,
Mhm.
in different coloured paints. Obviously, make it very colourful and artful. But I
Make it tasteful.
wonder, it's very tasteful. Yeah,
Mhm.
and once I've finished, frame it, and just for shits and giggles, put it on eBay
Would you
and see how much it sells for.
would you say how you painted it?
Yeah, I'll be completely honest.
Because I'd just be more interested to know if people would, without you telling them, would people be able to guess?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's going to be quite. What's it called? Phallical, isn't it?
I suppose, yeah.
Yes. There may be some hair encrusted in the paint as
Oh,
well.
nice, nice.
You know, so it's like, on closer inspection, they're probably going to know that them two round things there with that long thing pointing off of it.
Oh, I see. So you're not going to be subtle about it then?
Oh no! I mean, I'm going to slap them on there,
Yeah.
wiggle them about, change the colour, just keep going for it until I think it's finished. Then frame it, then put it on eBay, just to see how much I get.
Well, I don't know about you, Ali, but I'm thinking of a scene from Spaced. Do you remember it? Where Tim, played by Simon Pegg, goes downstairs to Brian's flat.
Yeah.
and then knocks on the door, and you can just hear.
Oh yeah.
And then when he opens the door, Brian's completely naked, and he's just like, "Oh, I've been trying to be creative with my art by not using a brush." He's like, "Oh, so what have you been using then?" My penis.
Yeah.
Well, there you
Pain.
go. There may be a new artist
Suffering.
on the scene
Yeah,
pretty soon.
yeah. Well, no, if you see Tim Plant's eBay page with a questionable painting on it, then it's up to you whether you want
No,
it.
you've got to make the actual painting, to look really beautiful as best you can. Like, not make it look
Oh,
phallical
no,
and
will
things.
do.
And then,
I mean,
no,
obviously.
yeah, so that then you don't think about it when you initially get. It's not
Yeah.
until you get the picture that you then go,
No,
"What's
I've got
this?"
a better
Oh.
idea. I've got a better idea.
Okay.
Use nice colours, make it look really, really nice, and then get it printed into wallpaper.
Yeah, you could have it copied like that, or you could be quite twisted about it. You could make like a My Little Pony picture out of.
Oh my good
No.
God! Don't go there because my friend Steve, he's a My Little Pony fanatic. He'll tell you
He's a
about the
brony.
best one. Oh mate,
Big
Oh,
brony.
Don't even go there. I can't let him listen to this podcast now. You've mentioned it.
All right,
I'm gonna have
rewind.
to hide- Yeah, I'm
Do-
gonna have to hide this podcast from him because if I made a genital picture of My Little Pony, I would probably be his hero for the rest of his life. Then again, he may just kill me for blasphemous.
Yeah, travesty. Yeah.
It's a My Little
They're innocent
Pony.
ponies.
But then again, I mean, if I was to do it, and let's just say make some wallpaper, I could make them into mouse mats. There you go. Everybody can have a little piece of me.
Yeah.
Little piece.
See,
just a
too
little
much
piece.
time on my hands. Perhaps I do need to go out and get a job.
Well,
But that's art, isn't it?
yeah. Nowadays, certainly, yeah, it does appear to be.
I would just like to see how much a penis picture would get. Not penis picture, but art done with the thing.
Yeah.
How much it would get on eBay, and whether there are buyers out there that would buy it because they knew it was done with a penis.
Hmm. Well, yeah. I mean, that would be interesting.
We should all do one. See who comes up to the best picture.
Hey, you're the artist here. You have an unfair advantage on that.
Yeah, you better not, in case I get jealous. Yours will be better than mine. I'll be like, yeah.
Comparing just
yeah.
like they are.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry, that's computer generated. No one's is that big. Do you know what I mean?
It's fake.
But anyway, enough about penises.
Right.
We could talk about penises. Have just led me on to rappers. I don't know why, but
Great segue. Yeah, that really connects
Yeah,
into that.
yeah.
Although I was about to bring it up myself just to move on from the
yeah,
subject.
just to move on from penis, we can talk about rappers.
Will's got a little section that he wants to do.
Yeah, try and make it a regular thing. Basically, I want to try and just pick up on a few mainstream rap songs where the rappers have managed to get away with some really, really terrible lyrics and just have a little talk about some of them. The first one, which I've thought of this one for a while. It was from a classic song which most people know, called it's by Justin Timberlake, and it's called My Love, and it features a rapper called T.I. And at one point, he says, "You don't really want to let the chance go by because you ain't been seen with a man so fly." Then he goes, "Friend so fly, I can go fly. Private cause I handle my BI. They call me Candle Guy. Simply cause I am on fire." Now, first of all, who's calling him Candle Guy? Does anyone calling T.I. Candle Guy? Who calls him that?
I've heard that before.
And even if someone did call it, well, it's obviously he does it in his American accent. He's like, "I handle my BI, they call me Candle Guy, simply cause I am on fire." I mean, guy and fire don't rhyme. He had to change the way he pronounces fire to make it fit. But I was like, is anyone calling you that though, T.I.? Is anyone calling you Candle Guy because you're on fire? And this is my point about these rap songs, is that I mean, it obviously happens in other songs as well. But I think in songs that singers do, sometimes it's so ridiculous the things that they do that it's not even worth bringing up, because at least in rap music, it's supposed to be about being very consistent and
Cohesive.
exactly. But when someone, I don't even know where he came up with that.
Because there's some rappers out there who are very lyrically great in terms of the way that they turn a phrase and things. And when you're kind of, I hear that and I'm just a bit like, what you on about?
Yeah.
Like what is the comprehension of those sentences together? I don't really get it.
Sorry, well, I don't know. I've got my hand up. As a non-rap person, what is BI? What does that mean?
business.
Right, got you.
I handle my BI. I handle my business.
I'm getting down with it. So.
They call me Candle Guy because I'm on fire. So he's so on fire that people are calling him Candle Guy, like he's got a fire on top of his head. But the next one, I think, this one's from a really, really, really famous song by Eminem, featuring Rihanna, which is called "Love the Way You Lie." But where's the bit where? So he goes, "Next time you show restraint, you don't get another chance. Life is no Nintendo game, but you lied again. Now you get to watch her leave out the window. Guess that's why they call it window pane."
Yeah.
Is it? Is that why they call it a window pane?
Who calls it a window pane?
Well,
have you heard that phrase before?
I mean, I've heard of the window pane is the bit on the
But does anyone call it window pane?
No, and does it relate to pain as in suffering in any way? No. It's just, see the grimace on Tim's face right now.
I'm thinking of LSD now. I want a bloody window pane. Go on.
I'm saying, I mean, that's what we're talking about when it comes to songwriting, and you, Tim, as a songwriter, know that you can't, unless you're already really established, you can't get away with lines like that, because that's the kind of line that's going to destroy your reputation. And the thing about that song as well is that it's so serious, all the stuff that he's talking about a really destructive relationship where it gets violent sometimes and you're always fighting, but you love each other so much that you don't ever want to be apart, and it's a really toxic, destructive relationship. And he's so serious all the way through it, really emotionally intense. And then at the end of the verse, he says that window pane. It's a pun. All right, let me see what other ones are. There's one. There's a song by Jay-Z called "It's Hot," and at one point in that song, he says the line, "38 revolve like the sun round the earth." I mean, where did he go to school? Does the sun orbit the earth? Is he from like the 12th century or something?
I don't know. There's people out there who still believe that. Yeah,
like people who believe the earth is flat.
Yeah.
Or Dr. Dre in Nothing But a G Thang, and he says, "Never let me slip, because if I slip, then I'm slipping."
Yeah.
What's the point of saying that?
There's not really an end point to that.
No. Don't let me slip, because if I slip, then I'm going to slip.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's just the most self-explanatory little thing. Or another famous rapper called Redman in a song called Five Boroughs, he says, "My paragraph alone is worth 5 mics. A 12-song LP, that's 36 mics. 5 times 12... No, that's not 36. 5 times 12 is 60. And he's had time. It's not like he was making that up and was doing the maths off the top of his head at the time. He wrote that line and then had time to think about it.
These schools got a lot to be desired, haven't they?
Yeah. Or Kanye West, the king of the bad line.
Yeah, but he's on another planet most of the time.
Well, yeah, and planets are a thing in this one.
Oh, really?
He says, "Don't try to treat me like I ain't famous. My apologies. Are you into astrology? Because I'm trying to make it to Uranus." So I assume he's talking to a woman who he wants to get, a bit of anal or something from her. But he says, "Are you into astrology?" Astrology is not about our solar system. That's astronomy. Kanye is but like you said, he's just on a different planet.
Yeah.
If you ever try and criticize him for anything, he just.
If he wants to go on a rant in one of his concerts after doing two songs, and then he just rants on about Donald Trump.
Yeah.
When everyone's gone to see him do a performance.
Yeah.
And he then goes on a rant. And it's a bit like, that's not why your fans have paid to see you.
We want to hear the songs. We don't want to hit there for a half-hour rant about how... Because he was saying that he wants to run for president in future.
But he might win. You never know.
Well, yeah, with the way things are at the moment, you never know. I got a few more. There's a hip-hop duo called MOP. And this guy, little fame from them, in a song called Half and Half, he says, "First family will gradually lift their ass up like gravity." Gravity doesn't lift things up.
No.
That's not how gravity works.
No.
That's not at all how gravity works.
It's a pull.
Yeah.
Lifting's more of a push.
Schooling.
Yeah, exactly. It's the schooling. It's like schooling, or else it's just thoughtlessness. They just wrote it without even thinking. Where else?
It's like, if you're doing a freestyle, then yeah, you can get away with that. If you're just doing it on the fly, you can probably get away with things like that. But if you're writing a song and you're thinking about it, you've got time to make sure that it's good.
Time to Google.
Yeah.
Oh, then there's this female rapper called Foxy Brown in a song called Affirmative Action. Now you might need a calculator to keep up with this one, but we'll see. The bars go 32 grams raw, so I think she's talking about cocaine or something. 32 grams raw, chop it in half, get 16. It's good so far. Double it times 3. I don't even really know what that means, but double it times 3, we got 48, which means a whole lot of cream. Divide the profit by 4, subtract it by 8, we're back to 16. But even if you are from 48, you divide that by 4 is 12, subtract 8, you're down to 4. So where's she getting 16 from?
I'm disgusted at this school.
But why?
Does she not have a calculator?
If you don't know maths, then don't put maths bars in trying to sound clever, because you just make yourself sound even more stupid. Or a rapper called Mace in a song called Can't Nobody Hold Me Down, he says, "Young, black and famous with money hanging out the anus." That's not money that I want to touch.
No.
I don't want to have anything to do with that money.
Maybe he's got so much money that
It's coming out of his arse.
Coming out of his arse.
He just was stuck for a line and then watched In-Betweeners.
Huh.
Where he
Oh,
pulled
yeah.
the tenner out from his arse
Yeah.
and just thought, that'll do.
Well, here's one rap bar, which is this is why earlier, going back to what I said earlier, why there's not much point in breaking down a lot of song lyrics, because this is what lots of singers do, but this lady has done it in a rap song. She says, her name is Trina. She says, "Now you know that I'm the queen of Miami. All that loud talking, lying, save that shit for your mammy. Sounds like blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay, what's up, shut up."
Yeah, getting to noises for lyrics.
Yeah. And you can get away with it more in singing, because you can sing those sounds and make them melodic and stuff. But in rapping, you just can't do that.
No.
Yeah. And that's it for today. We don't need to do too many in 1 week. But
No.
yeah.
A lot of it seems to be more about the education front of get some education if you're going to put some
Yeah.
trying to be smart in your
Yeah, that's it. If you
Rap.
want to try and be smart in your bars, then you've actually got to be smart,
Yeah.
or at least say something smart. And if you're not sure about what you're saying, that would be a message to any young rappers out there. If you're writing something but you're not sure whether what you're writing is correct, then just check.
Yes.
especially when you've got time when you're putting a recording together.
Yeah.
That's not something you're doing rush.
Yeah.
You got time. You have got time.
Yeah.
And normally you write and then you rewrite and you tweak. And surely, you must have time to make sure that if you're going to come out with facts, that your facts are correct.
Yeah. Or that your maths are correct. 'Cause like maths,
Mathematics.
yeah. It's not like it was even that complicated. I don't know how she got to 48 in that by having 32, halving it to 16, then doubling it times 3. So you double
You double the.
Oh,
figure
I
that you
see.
end
So
up
it's not doubling it at all. You're timesing it by 3. So from 16 to 32 to 48. So she shouldn't have put doubling in there.
with. No.
But then again, if she says you halve it to 16, then you double it times 3. Well, then doubling it times 3 to me is you double that 16 to 32, then you times 3 to 32.
Yeah. So you're on 96.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting from that.
And 96 is 48 times 2. Maybe there is a deeper level to what she was going on about here. Can you hot?
Nah.
Maybe it's one of those magic number equations.
Yeah. Whatever way you look at it, those are some bad bars, and some of them are on very famous songs by very, very famous people, like Eminem, like Jay-Z, like Kanye West. These are some of the most successful musicians on the face of the planet.
But there's also that tactic in terms of when you're translating a song, when you're kind of taking the melody and someone's written lyrics over it, and you're like, oh, I'm going to take the same thing. Some of those songs are nonsense, if you find one, where because they have to just write to the melody, and they have to kind of match it, but it doesn't match anything of what the original song was saying at all, because you're translating it from another language. So the rhythm of it is completely different. Yeah. And if you actually look at the lyrics of those types of songs, the lyrics don't mean anything, and they definitely don't match the original song that is about.
Yeah.
Because it's more about trying to get the feel for the song rather than. But yeah, in rap, because it's more set on syllables, I think you should probably. You can find other syllables that would make.
Yeah. Well, it's the same. Like
more sense.
with poetry, when I was learning about poetry at school and at university and stuff, they talk about how it's bad writing if you just try and pad something out by if you try and pad something out by adding in something completely irrelevant, or by saying something or wording something in a way where that no one would normally say it, and that's just bad writing because you're taking shortcuts. And similarly, if you have rhyming words, but the only way they rhyme is if you say the second word, pronounce it in a different way, that it's just lazy and it's bad writing.
It's lazy writing, yeah. I'd agree with that.
And so the rules in hip hop are really the same in any kind of rap, and it's the same as in poetry, although it's done to a beat and the rhythm of what you're doing is different to how poetry rhythms work. The rules are still the same. You don't cut corners, and you don't be lazy and take shortcuts. You have to put the same amount of effort into every single rhyme you write, and especially when I know that someone like Eminem can get away with more because he's so successful already, but that whole thing about the window pane, adding a stupid little pun at the end of a verse where you're talking about something that's really so serious, emotional and serious, it just seems inappropriate. It seems out of place.
Yeah, I see that.
Because rappers are known for doing things like window pane. That would be a joke in most rap bars. Like if you were watching a battle rap or something, make a stupid little reference that's wordplay. Yeah, window pane. Okay, but not in the context that he was talking about. You just don't make silly little jokes. That's my opinion, anyway.
No, I see what you mean. Like, if you're going for a certain theme and style within your song and rap, you keep consistent to it throughout. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just out of place.
Yeah, and unless there is a reason that you're just making it lighthearted at the end, like sometimes you're seeing the funny side of something, or you're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, and you can make a little joke, so everything's okay. But that wasn't the case in this song.
No, because he's really seriously saying that everyone, I fucked someone up, and they go out the window.
And they leave. Yeah, and I hate myself because I get so angry and aggressive, and I don't know how to. And that, I mean, a lot of Eminem songs are about that. I have these problems and I don't know how to solve them, and so I make a song about them. That's been a big part of his whole career, which is why I think, as hip hop artists go, he's the one that appeals to the most. Like a lot of emo kids or goth kids back in the day, they wouldn't like rap at all. But Eminem's different because he's got that sort of emotional side, and he's quite clearly flawed.
It was just about Eminem for a while, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of the mainstream.
Yeah, when the first Marshall Mathers LP came out, he was the only thing that anyone was talking about.
Who well, I wasn't. I've never been massively into rap and things like that, but
Yeah.
I knew his songs and the albums, and I knew other friends who wouldn't be into that style whatsoever.
Yeah.
Who knew about that album and listened to it in the car and things. It's a bit like,
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that is our. I haven't got a name for it yet, but that's me.
we'll come up with.
Yeah, we'll come up with a name.
Yeah,
And
you
then,
come
and
up
if
with
you guys see any other types of songs as well that you see a particularly bad bit of lyricism in it, then bring it up because it's all good.
Yeah.
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 Anyone got any thoughts on the old Article 50?
Oh,
Okay then.
that's a murky thing. The only thing that I noticed today was how Theresa May's lot said a thing about how they want to while we're negotiating the terms of leaving, they want to simultaneously negotiate trade deals with people, and the EU has just said no. You have to sort out the terms of exiting first.
That's the money side of it. They want to know how much we're going to pay them to get out.
I don't really know in detail what it's going to. Yeah, it is
basically.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So they're just going no because they want to know how many billions we're going to pay them.
Maybe. I think apart from anything else, like they say, it's because things will start getting too complicated and they'll take too long if you try and do everything at once. But I do think there's an element of the EU just wants to make things difficult for us.
Petty. It's just pettiness. That's what it is. It's just children spitting out their dummies. That's how I see it. And the thing is they're hoping that they make it so difficult that we decide just not to
change
bother.
our mind. Yeah,
That's not going to happen. If anything, it's going to make people more determined to go, okay, then we don't want a deal. We don't need a deal. To be honest, there's so many other people in the world we can trade with. Keep shit. It doesn't matter to us. We're not going to pay you any money. We're taking away the amount of millions that we pay you each week. You're just pissed. Because you know another thing, right? We're the only people that pay that money on fucking time and probably with no grief. And that's why they're pissed that we're leaving. Because all the other people ain't got no fucking money to pay them that money that we pay them every fucking week.
yeah.
So, you know, and it's all about, you know, how many billions you're going to pay us so that we can start trading. You can't trade unless you pay us our divorce money. Well, we have paid you enough over the years. More than probably some other countries have paid you. Because they ain't got fuck all. You're bailing them out. Do you know what I mean? So it just, to me, it's just pettiness. Completely just petty. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, at the almost exactly the same time, old Scotland has piped up and said, "Yep,
Yeah, we want."
Well, yeah, Theresa May just said,
I hope she sticks to it.
Yeah,
I hope she sticks to it because even I watched that whole debate because again I have so much time. I watched that whole debate and everybody said the same thing. In 2014, and you've tried to eradicate it from the internet, but you can't. It's still there. You are on camera saying this is a once in a generation opportunity.
Yeah.
We will accept the outcome of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they came back, Remain, that should be it. Because a generation is 30 years.
Yeah.
Right? Not fucking 2 years.
Nope.
And I hope that Theresa May, and I think I'm pretty sure the Scottish people will be behind her when she turns around and says no, because a generation to us means a generation, and you signed this in 2014.
Yeah.
And you're on camera saying that this is a once in a generation thing. Now, generation is not 2 years.
No.
So we are leaving the EU, and Scotland is leaving the EU. Even though she's saying you're making us leave against our will, tough fucking shit. You're part of the UK.
Yeah,
the
there's
is on its way out.
There's plenty of people in England who are having to leave against their will.
And Wales and Ireland.
Yeah, Northern Ireland was really heavily in favour of remaining in the EU, but they've.
But yeah, it's just like, oh man, it's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to happen. Deal with it.
Yeah.
You're not going to get another referendum. I don't think you should get another.
Well, also Theresa May has been relatively fair in that sense because she hasn't said there won't be a referendum. She said there won't be one until after we've finished the whole Brexit stuff.
And you've got to let that settle.
Yeah.
because we're going to know kind of what we're doing in 2 years, but it's not going to be set in stone. We need at least 5 to 6 years, right? Which is what she said. To get the deals, to get the trade, to get what we're doing, where we're going, and let everything settle and work itself out. Because the fishermen in Scotland might have a better deal after Brexit.
Yeah.
The people that farm in Scotland might have a better deal after Brexit. So if you take them out before, you're not giving them the chance to perhaps have a better life.
Yeah.
So we need to allow at least 5 to 6 years for it to sell. Because within 5 to 6 years, we're going to make our deals with Europe. Like I said, they're not going to want to not sell us their shit because there's billions and millions of pounds, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They can't, I mean, half of these countries are on their fucking knees. Imagine if they stopped trading with us. Honestly, think about it, right?
Yeah.
They're fucked. And how many other countries in the EU want to get out of the EU? How many? There's loads, right? So that's what they're pissed about as well. Why did you do it? Now everybody else is going to think that they can get out. Because it's not working for a lot of countries. Not just us. It's not working for a lot of countries. Now, for me, the UK is the UK, right? And it should remain the UK. And if Scotland want out, fine. But let's have this generation that you promised come back in 20 years' time. If the people feel different in 20 years' time. But 2 years, you're taking a fucking piss.
Yeah, it is too close together.
And I'm not a Tory, I don't give a fuck about politics and governments and all that, all fucking twats. But I'm so glad that she's turned around and gone, nope. Because basically your people don't want it. Your people have said to you, we don't want another referendum. We can't afford another fucking referendum. It's going to cost too much money. But, I can't. I'm so happy. I'm so happy now that we've triggered it. Because, like I said on the last podcast or the podcast before, now we're going to see real corruption. Now we're going to see what people are really like and what parties are really like. Because there's two ways, right, of going with this. There's do what you need to do to get it fucking done.
Yeah.
And then put the band-aid on it and let it heal and work from there. Or there's fight against it at every opportunity to stop the process, to hold up the process, just to be annoying and fucking stupid. And I'm glad because I want to see what pans out now. Corbyn's already turned around and said that he's not going to agree with most of it. Right? He's going to kind of fuck about. We know he's going to do that. He's going to fuck about. But then all the other people, let's see what they do. Let's see. Because if you've already got that amount of grief, how the hell are you supposed to get anywhere?
Well, the only thing I've seen Jeremy Corbyn say is that he wants to make sure that the rights of expats from the UK living in Europe now, that their rights are protected, and also that the rights of the EU people who are living in the UK now simultaneously are protected. And I think that that's a fair enough demand to make.
And a lot of people, though, are still saying, well, the single market. They don't understand.
No. The single market is obviously off the table.
We can't do it. And I don't know why they keep going single market. Surely, I mean, I'm not a fucking greatly educated guy, but I can fucking understand that we're not going to be able to be part of the single market. But yet you've got these politicians that are supposed to be highly educated still going on, we're staying single market. We can't fucking stand single market. Why don't they understand this?
Yeah, the single market is only for people, members of the EU. That's obvious. But I don't know. We just have to. I mean, if anyone who's listening to this has a different opinion about any of this, then
leave comments.
Yeah, put it in the comments, and we'll discuss it. Because I have a number of opinions about the whole thing that it would take forever to go into right now. So I don't really feel the need to do that unless someone wants to talk about it in the comments. But otherwise, yeah.
Probably need to dedicate a whole podcast to it. It's such a deep subject.
Yeah, it's a very controversial. There's lots of points of view. There's lots of things that people see as their priority in the whole thing. Because obviously now in the last couple of weeks, things have happened like 3 things that I have noticed that have stood out to me. Obviously, the terrorist attack, the recent terrorist attack,
London.
which was done by a British person who had become radicalised, however. But then on top of that, there was one incident where there was a really big YouTuber, I can't remember his name, an American guy, who he took part in a live stream with a Twitch live streamer called Destiny, and during this, the live streamer who he was playing with decided to start questioning him about a lot of his views, because he had outed himself as being as suddenly on Twitter he suddenly started expressing his really right-wing views, particularly about immigrants, which got to the ridiculous, where he was saying things like Mexicans are trying to take over the United States and things like that.
Well, it was JonTron as well.
That's John. That was JonTron. Yeah, because he then started elaborating on his views, and he was quoting a lot of old-fashioned far-right political points of view, which it just surprises me that there are people in this day and age who still think like that, because I mean, I know that there are some people who are neo-Nazis and they are in that kind of school of thought or in that kind of subculture, but this guy isn't. And then suddenly he came out with all these things, and it just really surprised me. But then the third thing I was going to mention was obviously the Dutch elections, where the far right candidate that everyone started thinking might have a chance of winning didn't win. And personally, I found that quite encouraging, that there is still, because like even with the whole Brexit stuff, the Dutch have been the ones who have talked the most sense out of everyone in the EU. They've been like, there's no point trying to stop Brexit from happening, and they've also said things like, there's no point in us trying to be petty about it and deny the British certain things. We need to try and negotiate deals with them so that everyone benefits in the best possible way, because Brexit's going to happen. Why stop,
make it as hard as possible for anything to go on? Why stop?
Why drag it out and try to do things that ultimately you're doing it just to get at,
just to be spiteful.
Britain. And your own country could suffer as a consequence of it, because you won't get deals with.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And people are going to be watching them from the outside going, you're just a bunch of twats, really.
Yeah, well, some people will, and some people won't, because it really depends on what their point of view is. But I agree with you that kind of behaviour is like childish behaviour that is not really relevant to global international decisions that are going to affect the lives of hundreds of millions of people. It's stupid.
I mean, somebody said a thing that stuck out to me was, we had an England before Brexit, so why can't we have an England afterwards?
I think the big argument is that people keep on going Brexit, not Brexit. It's a bit like, well, no, like look what's happened with Trump. Like people were Trump, not Trump, kind of very massively. Trump happened. He's still there. Fight the battles on individual policies, because they're the ones that matter. Don't fight against the whole ideal necessarily, because the issues that, because Trump during the campaigns, yes, he was saying quite left-wing stances on some things.
Yeah,
he was. I know that was probably just to grab votes, but now that he's in, it's like it's going to happen. He's in. Can't do anything about that. But now he's got his time in term, and now they didn't have, the Republicans kept on saying, oh, we've got an alternative plan for Obamacare. We've got an alternative. Oh, wait, what? You didn't have an alternative plan. You've just made it up, and it's crap. It wasn't better. You were just bullshitting. You had 8 years to make a plan, and you've not done anything. Everyone's fought back against it. It's the individual policies that matter. You need to look at what's individually is going on. Brexit could be good, but you need to look at what's going on individually.
It will be good if everyone works towards it together.
This is the thing.
But a lot of people are opinion Brexit. Oh, you're on one side and you're on the other side. Like it's become massive.
Well, like we said, families have split up over this shit. But the thing is, with Europe at the moment, the way they're behaving, the flip side is they know that there's other countries in the EU that want out. There is, right? But if they treat us so abominably and so disgracefully that we have no fucking hope in anything really, then it's going to deter other people from trying to leave. Because they're going to be going, shit, look at the way they treated the fucking UK. We don't want none of that.
Yeah, it's because also the negotiations haven't happened yet.
But
we
the
have
thing
just
is-
initiated
but
the
thing is,
negotiations.
and I put my hands up, right? I'm fucking simple, yeah? If I can see that, then I'm sure other people can see that. That basically you're doing this to scare off other people that want out.
Yeah.
That's why you're
Well,
doing
they've
it.
even gone as far as to say that they've said things like, "We don't want to." This has been like the French Prime Minister and I don't know. I mean, Angela Merkel in Germany has been a little bit more rational about things, and Juncker and everything, but particularly in France, which I know that France historically doesn't have a great relationship with Britain, but they've been saying things like, literally, we can't make this easy for Britain and give them a nice easy deal that is much the same as what they already had, because then that will encourage other countries to leave the EU.
Right, he's basically said that any terms under Brexit will be inferior to what the EU had for EU membership.
Yeah,
That's what he's been saying.
in a nutshell, yeah. Because otherwise, why would anyone want to stay in the EU?
Look at, is it Switzerland and Norway?
Yeah,
They get the benefits of the EU, but they're not part of it.
Yeah, I know.
Norway this year was voted, well, not voted, based on statistics done by
They surveyed 1,000 people in every country.
Yeah, and Norway
essentially.
is the country with the happiest people. That is, if to live in Norway, you will have the happiest life
But this
out
is
of
the thing,
anywhere in the world.
You know, if Norway and Switzerland are allowed to do it, then why aren't we? Why aren't we?
I know.
We've paid
Well, it's
enough.
because I suppose because they never were in the EU, and so they didn't divorce from the EU like we are.
But the thing is, the amount of money that we will do in revenue in these countries on trade through consumer products, cars, fucking clothing, you know, it's just stupid to even try and put a block on that, because there's 27 countries left in the EU. Is it 27 countries? Because there was 28, but we're out now. We're on our way out. So what? There's 27.
Well,
So 27 countries might say 23 countries might really just want to do trade with us. Okay, you're out, but we don't really give a shit. Can we still sell you our stuff because we need the fucking money?
But
Yeah.
but Norway.
But then you've got a few people going, no. Who are you to say no?
Well, Norway is outside the EU, but is a member of the European Economic Area. As such, Norway must apply the same freedom of movement rules as EU member states.
And that's one of the things that the British people don't want.
That's what they don't want. So, does Brexit apply to that? Because has anyone actually said that they're going to stop the freedom of movement? I think everyone's...
Or is it just better controlled freedom of movement? It might not be
Yeah,
that they
yeah,
just
no
don't
one-
want it.
That goes back to exactly what you said, Ali. Though the negotiations haven't been done yet, so we don't know what the demands are going to be and what the counter demands are going to be.
But that's what we were saying about Trump. Like, I always thought Trump was going to be bad overall. I thought he was bullshitting the whole time. I think most people knew he was bullshitting the whole time. And he didn't know what he was going to do. He didn't know what he was doing. And I think it's kind of... I mean, it's been 2 months now. I think it's kind of shown...
I think with Trump,
it's a little bit
I think he knew what he wanted to do, but only at a very shallow level. He hadn't actually gone into the depth of what he would have to do to make these things happen. And the thing that's a little bit worrying about that is, I was thinking about this yesterday. At the moment, he's tried to put things into motion that were some of the things that he said he was going to do, and they've all been blocked one way or another. But one thing that he has shown is that he hates foreigners, and he's really afraid of Muslims. And I know that people keep making the comparison, but it's just so similar to Hitler, because that is exactly what Hitler done when he was trying to do things and people were blocking him from doing it. I don't know exactly what it was. I don't remember the history of it, but something went down that enabled him to enact a law in the country that made him supreme ruler, where he could enforce decisions because it was a state of emergency in the country, and he could put things in place and no one was allowed to stop him. And then that was how he became the Führer, and then he started persecuting Jews and everything else that followed. And it seems at the moment, obviously, it seems almost ludicrous to say it, but if Trump managed to manufacture some kind of way that he really turned people around to his side, like some people argue George Bush did with 9/11, then that's when you can start doing the more extreme things because people start coming around to it. But yeah, at the moment, all you can say about Trump is that he's tried to do a few things and they've been blocked. But he maybe
Well, no, he promised that everyone was going to get healthcare, and that wasn't the deal that he's put in place. The deal that was put in place was that less people were going to get healthcare.
Yeah.
And he kept on saying they were going to replace it and everyone's going to get healthcare, and that's not what he's done.
Well, and
that's not the deal that was in place.
One thing that he's succeeded in doing is starting the process of taking back all of the stuff for cleaning up the environment that Obama put in place.
Yeah, but he said he was going to do that, so that is one thing that he did, even though it's detrimental. I think
it's detrimental to the world. But that's the thing; it's detrimental to the world as a whole, but to America's economy, it's beneficial because now they can carry on burning coal and fossil fuels.
Actually, the proof in the matter is that actually it's probably against the way because coal is going out.
Well,
it's happening, and the growth market is renewables.
Yeah,
it's renewable energy.
So he's kind of looking only in the short term.
Who's the biggest producer? They keep on going, oh, we'll bring back coal and things and we'll be better than China. Do you know what China's pushing way more towards than anything else? Renewables. They're the biggest manufacturer of renewable parts and things in the world. They are pushing strongly for it. Their government are pushing strongly for it. If they could, basically, by making America go back to coal more, China's going to have the rule on the energy market quite easily.
Right, I suppose with Trump, he's someone who's had so much success through his life by doing things the way he knows and being the age that he is.
It's outdated. I'm sorry.
He's trying to do things because he knows what has worked for him in the past and what he's seen work for other people of his generation. Yeah, maybe he's a little bit not very clued in about the way things are going.
Things are changing at the moment.
Yeah, he knows he's sort of going with things that are tried and tested for him. I know what has worked in the past. I've seen people make billions out of this and that, but maybe it won't work out that way this time. I don't know, but
it won't because it's changing. Like technology changes and the way the world changes on the risks and things of previous way you do things. It changes, it goes forward. We used to do child labour. We stopped that.
Yeah, there used to be slavery. Slavery was a really profitable way of getting things done.
You've got to change with the times, otherwise you're going to... And you have to see how things are changing to actually make the benefits. If you go back to the old ways, I'm sorry, most of the time you're probably going to lose out on the way things are changing now. You can't... It's like Bitcoins. You know Bitcoin's the currency?
Yeah. Virtual currency.
Yeah. If you got in that early... When you got a Bitcoin, it's basically Bitcoin's you kind of data mined, and then you got Bitcoins amount to a coin by the amount of data you mined, and it's a cryptocurrency, and so digital currency. But one Bitcoin's worth loads.
It's worth thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah, just one Bitcoin is worth thousands of pounds.
But the problem now is that you have to, because the market grew so much. You have to have you have to have massive farms now. You used to be able to do it if you had a few graphics cards.
Yeah.
A kind of couple of good PCs of powerful graphics cards in them could data mine a lot. Rather than now, you have to have warehouses worth to even make it worthwhile. So that's how that's changed. Like, the currency for one Bitcoin is quite a lot compared to other currencies. But in terms of the amount of money you have to invest to get that Bitcoin, it's now become so massive now.
Whereas if you got in on it early
and you saw it coming,
really profited from that.
But you can't go back to it now as a start point. And it seems like Trump's trying to go backwards and go coal worked. Everyone made money on coal. It's a bit like
they did
now. It's moved forward. It's not that. It's not the same thing anymore.
When we did our first podcast, we talked a lot about Trump and giving him a chance. And obviously, he's only been 2 months in, so it's way too early to form a conclusion about his presidency. But so far, it's not been encouraging from him.
No.
But
then again, same thing about Brexit. Let's give it a chance. Let's see where the negotiations go. Yes, if there's particular policies that would strongly tread down on your rights, sure, fight for it. but don't just fight against Brexit as a whole before anything's happened.
Yeah,
with it.
just because it's happening, so there's no point in trying to make it difficult for it to happen.
Well, there you go. I'm off to paint a picture.
Yeah.
See how much I get off of eBay. Just for shits and giggles. And if any listeners out there want to put a bid in, feel free.
Feel free, go ahead.
Right, I need to go home and die, I think.
Yes.
So, right, cool. I think we'll leave it there. And, well, thank you for listening, if you have been listening. In which case, if you haven't been, you haven't heard me say that. So,
Yes.
we will see you next time.
Yep.
See ya.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.